If you start talking about feelings and all that stuff young, it's much easier to start talking about their menstrual cycles, their hormones, their arousal, their all of those things, because it's going to happen. It is normal. Like I said to you, I'm not very formal with my accountability with my daughters. It's much more informal. But I make sure it's in my head. Not necessarily do we have it on the calendar with them, but it's in my head. I want to make sure we talk about that stuff. Conversation with their peers. I think that's the biggest thing we have, is they tell me that their peers are dealing with this. And so we talk a lot about, well, what do you think about that? I do a lot of that, not my opinion. It's very easy because I could come up with my own opinion. I ask them a lot, well, what do you want to do about that? Or how do you want to, what do you want to say about that? And then sometimes they don't want to do anything, which is fair. And so we just kind of keep that conversation going. So my girls swim actually on a swim team. And so we talk a lot about the differences. There's less clothes on a swim team, but they think it's normal. So their actually body images are actually really good. I'm impressed, and I want to keep it that way because they don't wear very much, and no one else does. But they're all good with that, which is nice. But then there's also the boys. Like how does that make you feel? And so I bring it up. Always ask them what they've seen. I just kind of ask my daughter, so have you seen, what do you think about that? What about that in that movie? What'd you do in that movie or that book? I have a daughter that was a huge reader, and I could not keep up. I tried, for a while, and I'm like, I can't. So we just talked about what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. Tell me when you read this stuff. So when I've read a book that she's read, and I'm like, oh. And so I ask her, what did you do with that? She goes, I just turned the page. Oh, okay. That's good to know because you're not going to be able to see everything that they see, everything that they read. It's good to just kind of talk about those things could be in books. My daughters have come to me, and I think we got her a book for her birthday just recently, and she came to me and said, Mom, I don't want to read this book. And I said, why? She goes, it was really bad after the first chapter. Okay. And she started talking about it was sexual, and it was stuff that she didn't want to read it. I wouldn't have known that by reading the cover. So you just have to keep teaching them.